Well, on the question of raising the profile of risk, we're seeing two things, I think. One is on the risk side, that risk is actually getting higher up the boardroom agenda. But I don't think boards exactly know what they should be doing. And so we're wanting to focus on how we can get our members to help boards achieve their objectives in terms of managing risk. On the insurance side, we think that probably insurance is maybe going down the boardroom agenda, probably in direct proportion to the way premiums are going down. And we think that's wrong. We think boards should be taking more interest in their insurance program, particularly whether it's going to work in the event of a critical major claim. So we're doing quite a lot of work on both of those, and we're publishing reports this conference on both how members can assist their boards on managing risk, but also how to raise the profile of insurance at board level. Mark, I think the big issues for risk managers are the increasing complexity of risk. I mean, most of our risk managers are looking at increased globalization, migration of risk from hard assets to soft assets, including technology, which is also a challenge, and also the virtual organization, where a lot of what they have been doing is moving away from operations which were under their control and owned to operations through a supply chain or subcontractors, and trying to manage risk throughout that process, and particularly looking at some of the insurance issues, quite a challenge for risk managers. If we could achieve one thing, maybe I'd be allowed two things, one from the risk side and one from the insurance side. I think on the risk side, as you know, we've managed to have a very significant impact with the research that we've done with Roads to Ruin and Roads to Resilience. And we're planning between now and next conference to do the third piece of research, which would be very much around human risk factors. We have very high expectations of what we're hoping to achieve there. On the insurance side, we've started discussions with the insurance industry on innovation, moving into the area of soft asset risks, such as more on the area of technology and possibly in terms of reputation and intellectual property. And so we're hoping that those discussions will lead to some form of structure within the market which enable the market to move forward more quickly. It's important for risk managers to get together. It's actually quite a lonely business being a risk manager, because you're sitting there in the organization, and even if you've got a reasonably large team, you and your team are probably the only people who know really what you do in that organization. Whereas here we have 1,500 people who really represent all the intellectual property there is to offer in this marketplace, getting together for 3 days and actually being willing to share that intellectual property and their thought processes. The average working year for any of us is probably about 220 days, and we're saying, why not spend 3 of those 220 days actually learning what everyone else thinks and re-energizing, refreshing your own approach to risk management and insurance.